and then we have some sort of perception about it. Okay? The perception, okay, is going to be our process of actually trying to make sense out of the information. So we're trying to make sense out of our senses of the information that we're getting from our senses. Okay? So that's the difference between sensation and perception. And the examples that we just looked at, the 2 on your paper and the 4 pictures and the 1 little text that I showed you, were all examples of trying to separate sensation from perception. And so you were trying to make sense of what you saw, okay, despite what your senses were telling you. Okay? Now, most of the time, sensation and perception pretty much go together. Okay? You get input from your senses, and your brain goes and processes this and tries to make sense out of this. Okay? Now, when we do that, okay, we can talk about 2 ways to process information. So you read about for your homework, bottom-up and top-down processing. So I wanted to kind of hit those and explain those a little bit more because sometimes they can be a little tricky. So bottom-up processing is going to be where you get the information from your senses, okay, and it works up to your brain for interpretation. So you take all of the information that you're gathering from your senses, your sense of touch and smell and taste and sight, and then you are going to go and make some sort of interpretation, an explanation of it. So you're going to take your sensory information and it's going to work up to your brain for interpretation. So I have an example for you. A couple weeks ago, my daughter, I told you before, my daughter is a swimmer, and she was going to go to a swim meet at the IUPUI Natatorium. Anybody ever been to the IUPUI Natatorium? Okay. All right, she was going to go there. And leading up to this swim meet, it was a big, huge swim meet, and they were getting tons of emails about this is how the meet's going to be set up. And they said, okay, we are going to go and divide the pool in half. There's going to be 2 pools, and you have to have your child has to know which pool they're going to be swimming in, and they're going to have the same pool throughout all of Saturday or Sunday. Okay, and so then they had all this information in there. And then they also sent a picture of the IUPUI Natatorium, so in case you've never been there. I, weirdly enough, have never been there. So they sent this picture, and this is not exactly the same picture because I went to try and find it and I couldn't find it. But the picture they sent us actually showed how they're going to divide up the pool. So for those of you that don't know, they basically have movable walls, okay, in large pools like this. So they have what they call a bulkhead, and they put it in the middle, right, of the pool. And they basically made 2 pools with this kind of fake wall in there, right? So I looked at this picture and I was like, okay, it makes sense. Because they were saying they're going to have 2 pools. You know, you read that, you're like, what does that mean? Where is it going to be? So you don't have any perception of how this is going to be. So then you look at this picture and you're just like, okay, I have this, I have this splits 2 pools in there, and I'm looking at it. And I'm also looking at it. Okay, it looks like they have lots of seating, right? So this will be good, lots of seating, because that sometimes is a problem. And so I am taking on all the information from the picture, okay, and I'm processing it, and I am making some interpretations and for myself. And so my sister-in-law was coming with me to go to the swim meet, and I was thinking, okay, that's good, all right. So it looks like the pools are right next to each other, so that means that, we find out which pool Olivia is swimming in, and we will just sit near that end, right? Okay, so that's my perception. Okay, so that's bottom-up processing. Does that make sense? Question?
Yeah, it was just like you tell your first time to the natatorium.
Yes. I know. Like I said, it's odd because I've never been there. I've been to many, many, many pools, trust me. Just that one I had not been to. Okay, so top-down processing, on the other hand, okay, is guided by higher-level mental processing, okay? You construct perceptions based off from your expectations and your experiences. So basically, you're not using your senses. You're starting with your expectations, your previous experiences, and then you're going in with that preconceived notion about how it's going to be, okay? And that is, then you're going to go down and see if you're going to look for the senses that meet your expectations. Sometimes they don't. So, going back to my little swimming example here. And this wasn't the perfect picture because I couldn't find it. Like I said, I need to find a better picture where it actually has the pool split. Okay, but I saw this picture. And for those of you that don't know swimming, okay, you go to a swim meet, you're going to be there for hours, like 4 or 5 hours. So, my sister-in-law and I were going to go to this meet, and so we were packing up our stuff to bring stuff to do and food and everything else. We're packing up our stuff, right? And because it's like a truck, so you have to take this all the stuff in. You know, right? Okay? So, we're packing up all our stuff, and my sister-in-law's like, oh, what about these chairs? We have these like those chairs, those stadium chairs for like when you have bleachers, you know, where they fold down, right? So they fold down flat, or you can open it up and it provides, you know, back support for you. Because has anybody ever sat in bleachers for like 4 hours before?
Yes, like the ones down in our gym.
Yeah. How's that after 4 hours? Even after an hour, right?
Like after, like you can't even walk in the mass.
Yeah, mass is probably pushing it, right? Here's my point, okay? Most of the time when we go to swim meets, the seating is stadium seating, okay? So we had bought these nice chairs a while ago, and so my sister-in-law's like, oh, well, what about bringing those nice chairs to sit in? I'm like, oh yeah, we should do that. So we brought them to the natatorium. If you haven't been there, and you don't pay attention to the picture, here's the seating, right? What kind of seating do they have?
Seated pad, back stuff.
These blue areas right here on either side, these are actual individual seats with backs, okay? Everything up here, those are the bleachers, okay? So, again, top-down processing, because my experiences, okay, were telling me, oh yeah, it'll be bleacher seating, yeah, we need these chairs, right? Show up, and you're like, oh, wait, they have chairs, these are nice, this is awesome, okay? The point is, okay, depending upon bottom-up processing, if I go and actually use my senses to be able to look around and be able to actually look at the picture, I would have been able to see that they actually have individual chairs. And I wouldn't have had to bring my little folding chair, which by the way I did not bring on Sunday. Okay? Top-down processing, because I was basing it off of my previous experiences and not what my senses were telling me. Okay? That's how I was interpreting the experience. Does that make sense? Okay? All right. So now, when we look at this, we can also talk about thresholds, and we can talk about thresholds as far as what you can interpret. Okay? So the first threshold is the biggest thing is absolute threshold, and this is what you can detect. Okay, stimulation you can detect 50% of the time. So this means that you can pick up on this half of the time. So half the time you can pick it up, sometimes you can't. And this is going to be a stimulation that could be visual, could be auditory, it could be taste, it could be smell, it could be touch. Any of the senses. So some sort of sense that you can only pick up about half the time. Okay, absolute threshold also includes, so it's including the smell. For example, okay, even sight, okay? How far away can you see a lit candle? This is the absolute threshold. How far away can you be? Now, absolute threshold is going to be 50% of the time I can see it, or I can smell it, or I can taste it, and 50% of the time I can't. Victoria.
Okay, this is, have you ever heard of it?
Now, guys, almost done. Stay with me. Okay, subliminal stimulation, subliminal messages, on the other hand, are going to be where it's below our absolute threshold. Okay, so this is going to be something that is below your threshold where you would hear it or see it or smell it or taste it or touch it 50% of the time. It's below that. So that means that subliminal messages are things that you would only pick up very occasionally, less than 50%. Okay, so do subliminal messages affect us? Okay, there has been lots and lots of studies looking into this, and lots of companies have tried a lot of different things to look at this. Okay, I have some examples I have a video of examples for you. Some of these are really easy, and some of them are not. What's on L1H?
Yeah.
All right, while I'm waiting, guys. Okay, while I'm waiting for my video to pull up. Wendy's, did you ever notice this about Wendy's? On the Wendy's cups, okay, they have the logo with the Wendy's girl, and it's in red, right?
It says mom.
Okay, and it says mom underneath.
What's the point?
Mom is influencing her. This one, have you ever seen this one? The KFC snacker, there is actually down here, you see in the bun, anything different? Or I'm sorry, in the lettuce, anything different? It's kind of a neon.
It's kind of neon. And
Right?
there's red.
What did you say?
Here,
It's like a caterpillar.
right here, this is a dollar bill. It is.
Where?
My dad was saying that on
Wait, where's
Right here, right here is a dollar bill. Okay? All right, so, yes, Doug.
My dad said that like on TV, like you can't see ice in like the glass.
Yep.
Lines, so that, like they have to like paint it on there, and sometimes they get this the designers put something like really crazy.
Yep.
Or like he said, nude women have been on it before.
Yep, they do.
On what?
On like
Ice.
like ice, like you can't see it like camera or whatever. So you have to paint it.
Okay, you don't need to hear this one, but look at this.
Oh, I see it.
There's a chip.
Did you ever notice that?
Yes, I did.
I've noticed that.
Two guys.
I always just thought that was just like.
Oh, what? Can you find the hidden kiss? Hidden kiss? Yeah, this one is really easy.
Yeah.
The peacock, that's easy.
Oh, I just thought it was.
Milwaukee Brewers,
MB.
MB. But it's kind of clever that they have it as a catcher's mitt. Did you ever notice the G for Goodwill? The smiley face? I never really considered it, but, you know, that's cute. Okay, what do you see?
Two
See a
lions.
lion.
Gorilla and the lion.
It's kind of an interesting way to be able to put in their logo.
They didn't show the fish.
One.
Formula One
There's
racing.
a one between.
Yeah. The negative space. All right. That are some examples of some subliminal messages. All right, so keep in mind, subliminal messages are only for below the absolute threshold, okay? So tomorrow what we'll take a look at is, we didn't get a chance to talk about Weber's Law, so on Wednesday we'll talk about Weber's Law and we'll do a little experimentation with Weber's Law.